So today what I'm going to show you is how to replace the headlamp assembly on this Dodge Durango. Now, in order to remove this, we've got to remove the front grille. In order to remove the front grille, we're going to be taking the front fascia off. Now the top edge just snaps down. You're just going to grab a corner gently and start pulling up until you get them completely released. Now this vehicle has had some body damage before, so you're going to probably see some different things going on. For example, one of the snaps is broke off right here. That was from previous damage. So with the vehicle up in the air, now we can get access to the fasteners that hold the front bumper cover to the vehicle. Now we got a combination of two 10 millimeters on the outer edges, and we got a total of 3 quarter turn fasteners that you just turn and then pull off. Now of course, this vehicle being damaged, it's missing some of them. So we'll go ahead and get the 10s off, and what fasteners we do have, quarter turn, and we'll get them off. This is one of the 3 quarter turns. You'll just grab it, twist it, and pull it off. It's just rectangle shape going up in there. And of course this is the other 10 millimeters. So a total of 2 of these and 3 of these you'll take loose. Now removal of the tire is not necessary. I only took it off so that I could get you some better angles with the camera so you can see everything. All you need to do while it's on the ground is turn your steering wheel all the way to the left or to the right, whichever one, depending on what side you're working on, it gets you a little more access to the fasteners on the front end. Otherwise, like I said, I only took it off to help you see. You don't need to. Now, so that you don't cause damage to the paint and surface on this fender flare right here in the front bumper cover area, I recommend taking it off. Now, it just snaps around the perimeter, and then right up here where it mounts to the actual front bumper cover, they would normally be 2 plastic rivets, and those you would knock the center pins out, or you would actually drill the centers out. This one being, like I mentioned, had previous repairs done. It's got Christmas tree fasteners, so I'll be taking those out. Otherwise it just unsnaps. Otherwise the problem you might have is as you're trying to get the bumper cover back on, fender flares hanging here, there may be some contact, may get some scratches. It's best to be safe and take it off. If any of the plastic snaps come unloose and stay attached to the fender, you can pop them off and reattach them to the fender flare. If they break, you're definitely going to need to replace them. That way it stays on like it's supposed to. So this is where the plastic rivets would normally be. Like I mentioned, they put Christmas tree fasteners. Try to go back with the plastic rivets if you can. They hold on a lot better. We'll go ahead and pop these off. And then I've got 2 more fasteners. I've got an 8 millimeter down below and a 10 millimeter up here. And that will be the liner attaching to the front bumper cover. Alright, so the fasteners are off on the front edge going to the front bumper cover. I'm just going to go ahead and grab this and start pulling outward. Take your time. You shouldn't have to use any trim sticks. You should be able to do most of this by hand. Like I said, they are plastic snaps. They can be on there, and it may take a little bit of force. You're not trying to damage it, you're not trying to break it, you're not trying to be rough, but you got to get it off because they're snapped on. So just work it around. And there we go. Bottom one did stay on. We'll take that off and we'll put it on the back side. So these are the little plastic snaps that hold it in place. Around the front edge you don't have any, but around the rest of it you do. And this one will be reinstalling. Otherwise, around the perimeter is what you're going to be looking for. You can see where this one's been broken. Someone's actually used some JB weld to actually put it back on. So when you're taking things apart, if they break, sometimes it's not your fault. Sometimes it's been broke before. This one's still holding, but that's another repair that someone did instead of replacing the assembly. There's a bottom 8 millimeter, attaches that fabric type fender well liner to the front bumper cover, and then we'll move up to 10. And our 10 millimeter. So with that upper 10 millimeter out, we pull it back. You can actually see there's a piece that's sticking through. There's a threaded stud that sticks through. Now, if you grab the front bumper cover and you pull back and out and off, that releases it. that actually helps hold it in place. So if you go back, we would definitely make sure that you snap it over that and then snap around the perimeter as well. But once you release this side, you've now got everything on the fender well liner taken loose, and now we can actually work on getting it off. Now once we got that fender well liner unbolted from the front bumper cover, and before we take the front bumper cover off, we need to make sure that there's nothing plugged in, such as the fog light. On the fog light, all you got to do is reach in here, grab the connector, squeeze, pull it off, and we'll repeat the same thing on the driver's side. Right here where the front bumper cover meets the fender, there's a plastic mechanism up under here that everything snaps into. When you get the front bumper cover loose and you're pulling it around, it unsnapped. Also, when you're going back with it, you got to line it up and give some gentle taps to line it. What would probably help at this point is to put some tape on right here, because as we're going back, once again, we don't want to scratch the actual paint on the vehicle. I'm just grabbing some body shop paint, something that's not going to stick that great as far as permanently, leave marks or sticky stuff all over it. Put a couple pieces, and that should be enough to stop me from actually scratching the front bumper cover. I'm just trying to make sure it looks the way it came in when it leaves. Alright, so up underneath we've gotten all the fasteners taken loose. We've got the fasteners inside the fender well opening as well, and we've got it unsnapped from the front fender right here. Now we're just going to work our way around. There's some areas where it's going to snap in right here around the headlight. We're just going to work it around. Now keep in mind the grill stays on the vehicle, does not come off with the front bumper cover. And also we did unplug the fog lights. So just grab an edge, start working it. Now, you may take a little force. Like I said, I'm not trying to break it, I'm not trying to be rough, but I've got to unsnap it, and there's no easy way to do it. So, work your way around. Grab it, and sit it off to the side. So here's the area that the front bumper cover goes around the headlight. Right here is where it snaps in place as well. And you got your fingers that go right up under the grill every so often. And when you're going back with it, make sure you give it a couple of gentle taps. Just gentle enough to snap it back in place. Make sure everything is firmly seated. Now with the front bumper cover out of the way, now we can get access for moving the grille assembly. Now, the grill itself looks like it's a separate piece that could have been removed without the front bumper cover. Unfortunately, it's not, because everything you see right here that's black in color up under is actually part of the grill assembly. So we've got two fasteners to take loose. We've got a 10mm over here and a 10mm over there. And once we get those off, we can work on getting the grill assembly off. And we've already loosened up the upper edge at the beginning. So now we should be able to grab it and start working it off. Take your time. Try not to scratch anything that's painted. Now on the headlight, we gotta get this upper plastic cover out of the way so we can get access to the headlamp assembly. We've got a couple of plastic fasteners, push pins around the perimeter, the type that you actually lift up on the center. Once you lift it up, you can remove the bottom. Sometimes they come off as one piece. Sometimes as you pull them up, they separate. As you see, we did both of them that way. We'll go around the perimeter, we'll get all of them off, and then we'll lift up on this plastic cover so we can get to the top portion of the headlamp. Now, once you get the push pins released from the front, work your way back. There's a few more along the side here on top of the fender, as well as all the way in the back. And once we get that off, this weather strip you see right here actually snaps in place. We'll leave that where it's at. What we're going to do is going to pick up on this plastic closeout panel and just reposition it so we can get the upper headlight bulb. So we're not going to take the weather strip off, we just pick up on the assembly, get it out from under that cavity at the back of the fender, and just reposition it. Now with that closeout panel all the way, we've got our 10mm up here we need to work on. We're going to back that one off, and then we've got two more around the front. I'll show you where they are, so go ahead and get this one released. Up here where we took the upper 10mm off, you look right in front of here where this rectangle cutout is, the upper radiator support is a piece of metal that's bent upward like a finger. It kind of latches in place. When you're reinstalling the headlamp assembly, when you push in, it's going to lock down in place to keep it from falling back off. Now, it's the same process if you want to remove it. You've got to pick up on the back of the tab here to clear it. So definitely pay attention to that and make sure it's fully seated before tightening down the bolt so you don't break the plastic finger here if you've got it above it when you're trying to tighten down. So make sure it is latched in place. So now we're at the bottom two fasteners we need to work on taking off. If you look over here, we've got a 10mm here, we got a 10mm over there. Now this one was covered up at one point by the closeout panel, which we've taken loose and just maneuvered out of the way. And also the front grille assembly with the bracket was covering it up. Now those are out of the way, we've got access. So let's go ahead and back off on these two 10s. So, grasp the assembly by hand, reach up top, that little tab I was telling you need to lift up on. Once you do that, the headlamp assembly is now loosened. Now we do got to get to the back side to unplug the connector going to the bulbs, however. Now you're going to have to reach up in here and try to disconnect each one of them one at a time. If you need to, you could probably just rotate the bulb assembly and take the bulb out with it. Just take care not to damage the bulbs when you take them loose, or you can try to unplug them. Just work your way around. There's, like I said, a total of 4. There's 2 near the outside edge and 2 near the inner portion. So there we go, we got them unplugged. And that's where all 4 of them were. You had both your headlights, and you had everything from running lights and turn signals, side markers. So there's 4 bulbs we actually rotated to get them out. Now if you're wanting to take the bulbs loose with the connector and leave the bulb on the assembly, what you would do is, for example, on this one you would squeeze in right here. When you squeeze in, you pull. Also, if you're wanting to take this one out right here, you're just going to lift up on the tabs right here. Once you lift up, you can pull the connector off. And that's the 2 end boards. And here are your other 2 bulbs, the one that's closest to the outside where the wheel is. If you're going to be disconnecting this one, you got to lift up on the lock right here. It's a double stage, much like a fuel injector connector right here. Squeeze in on that portion, separate it. Same thing here. This one has a couple different locks on it. This gray one's not the one you're going to be messing with. That's actually the lock for the connector to keep the wires in place. Now what you would do is you would grab the outside edges, pry them apart, and then start wiggling the bulb off of it. And there you go. Now when you go back with a headlamp assembly, everything is just the opposite of removal. Just if you need to plug in your bulbs, so be it, or if you need to insert the bulbs and lock them in. Like I said, I removed the bulbs and left them on the connectors. If you disconnected them, just snap them in place. Make sure the locks are secure as well. Just slide it over. Make sure that the top piece is fully seated, like I said, with that little raised area within that little square rectangle hole right there. Just snug down your bolts, close out panel, and then start going back with the bumper cover, the grille, all that stuff in the order that we removed it. So at this point, this is where I ask for any kind of thumbs up on YouTube. Don't forget you can like me on Facebook. You can check me out on Instagram and Twitter as well. And if you got any comments or suggestions about the video on this Dodge Durango today, or anything Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram related, please feel free to email me at david@motorcitymechanic.com, and I will try to get back to you in a timely manner. Once again, thanks for watching these videos.